Night brought to you by AE Door and Window Company. They sell the best and service the rest. Thomas More University. Expect more from your college experience. At Thomas More University, you can make it more. And by Kelsey Chevrolet on Route 50 and 275 in Lawrenceburg. Greater Cincinnati's fastest growing full service dealer. And the Tri-State's #1 Chevy lease dealer. All because of your family believing in ours. From our family to yours, KelseyChev.com. This
Stand by.
Football Tonight on ESPN 1530 and Fox Sports 1360.
All right, here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome in to the High School Football Tonight show, powered by tristatefootball.com, here on Fox Sports 1360. My name is Safwan Alvi. I will be your host, and I am joined, as always, by my partner in crime, the man, the myth, the legend, the Don. The nicknames go on, but of course he is a friend. That is Greg Shoemaker, and we are tristatefootball.com, your go-to destination for all things high school football in Southwest Ohio, Eastern Indiana, and Northern Kentucky. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms on Twitter and Instagram at TS Football. Again, that's at TS Football. You can also like us on Facebook at tristatefootball.com and like and subscribe to our YouTube page as well. Want to give a big shout out to Daniel King with us from TGIF Football. You can learn more about their live Red Zone show, Friday Football Live, at their website, tgiffootball.com, and you can follow them on Twitter as well at TGIF Football. And a big shout out to our producer behind the glass, Mr. Sam Niger, aka Sam Niger, like the Tiger. Right, we appreciate you behind the glass, my friend. Greg, it is week 2 here in the tri-state area, right? Unfortunately, we had a very short show last week, right? Greg and I were on for about 5 minutes because of a rain delay in the St. X game last week against Lakota West. And thankfully, we are on the opposite side of that, right? We are with you for the next hour and a half until 11 p.m. here on Fox Sports 1360, Greg. And let's jump right into the Underground Sports Shop scoreboard, right? Go to tristatefootball.com/scores to see the entire scoreboard. Greg, quickly starting with the game we just heard on the radio. Big shout out to Ralph and Nick Nardini calling the game as the 5th-ranked St. Xavier Bombers. They took on Wayne. Greg, a trip up to Huber Heights today, and St. X looked a lot like themselves tonight, right? It was a 35-7 win. Aiden Newdigate had a big game, especially with his legs on the ground. Wayne was actually moving the ball pretty well, Greg, in this game, right? Overall, it was a bend but don't break style, but X picking up their first win of the season.
Yeah, how about that? You think those guys stopped at Buc-ee's on the way up before the game? Imagine those big St. X buses running into Buc-ee's. Yeah, nice job, though. Newdigate, you're right. A turnaround from last week, had a few interceptions, and he ran the ball pretty good last week as well. So I like what he's doing there. The Springboro transfer, looking good.
Absolutely. And we'll just go ahead and stay in the GCL South, right? Another top 5 team. How about number 4, Moeller? Right, they were taking on a team from Columbus, Groveport, Madison tonight, and that game was in the 4th quarter. It had not gone final, but Moeller was dominating in that game. It was 42-0 last time we saw, so Moeller is going to pick up a win there. Greg, Moeller with a big win coming up. GCL South having a good night tonight, and we're going to talk about some more of those teams, but Moeller picking up a big, much-needed win. Remember, they started the season off against Princeton, right, last week at Paycor Stadium. Took a rough loss, right? They did some things well, but they left some, points and opportunities on the table, so it was a big way for them to get their first win of the season.
Well, you're absolutely right. They ran the ball pretty well last week, and threw the ball pretty decently as well. But it was a really good Princeton defense. We found out how fast they were, and we're looking at them. I know at one point I think we were up 21-0 over Middletown earlier tonight. But yeah, I mean, it was a great bounce back win for that team. Like we were talking, I think that this Moeller team's it's so well suited for November football with their big offensive line. Their 2 running, Juice Brown and Graylow coach, their 2 running backs. They're going to be good. I don't, you stumble a little bit. You may have a stumble in GCL South play. It looks like it's going to be one of those years again. But, man, you talk about have we talked about Elder yet?
Elder, that is going to be coming up really shortly.
Well, let's talk about Elder.
I did want to talk real quick, Greg, about how about one of the only 2 undefeated teams in the GCL South? How about number 12, LaSalle? right? They are 2-0 to start the season, right? They beat Coleraine in week 1, and Greg, they dominated Northmont today, 38-6, right? A lot to like for the first 2 weeks for the Lancers.
And I was Brett Schneeber, one of the coaches over there, was talking last week with a couple of my buddies of mine, and he was telling them how young that this LaSalle team is. But tonight against Northmont, they had a very balanced attack, and one guy run for 70 yards, another guy run for 60. They had 233 yards on the ground, and came up with a couple turnovers on defense. You got to beat the bad teams on your schedule, and that's what they did tonight.
Absolutely. LaSalle moving to 2-0 on the season. And the other undefeated team, Greg, in the GCL South, oh my goodness, maybe the single most impressive team in the tri-state area so far. How about those Panthers, right? The second-ranked Elder Panthers. They were taking on a very familiar foe in Northern Kentucky, Covington Catholic, right? Eddie Evanston's Covington Catholic Colonels. And Greg, Elder dominated this game, a final 56-20. Elder goes in and puts a beat down on Covington Catholic. Greg, how shocked are you at this game? And is this more of a Elder is just maybe on a different level, or Covcath just maybe ran into a buzzsaw tonight?
They ran into a buzzsaw tonight, the Colonels did. But look, 91 points in 2 games against Middletown and Covcath. Caden needs to step. It's funny. Last week, somebody had talked to me like, "Hey, this kid, we're going to have to start looking at him for Ohio Mr. Football after 1 week of play." Well, after 2 weeks of play, I think that's a legitimate thing to look at. This kid has been very, very good for 3 years here. If you look at their schedule and who they beat last year, I mean, my goodness, the schedule, those teams that they played last year. Were combined like 775 winning percentage in 2024. The teams are playing this year like a 778 winning percentage in 2025. So they know how to beat good teams. They just keep rocking out, and you have to be very impressed with what they are. They're a very disciplined football team, and Doug Ramsey is doing a great job. Peyton Ramsey, we saw him last week on the sidelines. He's digging this just as much as his dad is being a coach there now after being such a star player.
Absolutely, Greg. And when you're looking at the quarterback position, right, E-Step is on his track to a Mr. Ohio football conversation. He almost has very little flaws in his game. He can run for 80 to 100 yards, right? He's fast, he's athletic, and we saw highlights from last week and even this week, him and Andrew Lyman's connection, right? He can throw the ball down the field. He throws it with touch in the middle of the field. E-Step can beat you any way, and their offense is just humming. And with Lyman, who's actually a transfer, right? He's a transfer coming into
From
Elder.
Kings, yeah.
I mean, they are just absolutely lighting the scoreboard up together.
They really are, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk with Doug Ramsey a little bit later about it, because a couple years ago when we had him on the show, he was telling us that Caden's one of the best quarterbacks. When Caden was a sophomore, he's like, "This is one of the best guys I've ever coached at quarterback." And he's had some good ones there too. So, and he's proven to be just that guy.
Absolutely. And a reminder that the Elder Score is brought to you by Kelsey Truck Country on Route 50 and 275 in Lawrenceburg. Our peace of mind comes standing with friendly service and a team that you can trust. From our family to yours, find your next Chevrolet at kelseychev.com. Kelsey Chevrolet. We drive peace of mind. All right, Greg, staying in the Blitz 5 top 25, let's move on to the ECC, right? Because we have a couple top 10 teams in the ECC, right? One team was looking to bounce back after a very tough loss, right, in week 1. Talking about the Anderson Raptors, right? They come in at number 8 in our Blitz 5 top 25, right? They took on Louisville Trinity last week, and many of us, have Anderson in the Division II state championship picture yet again, right, for the 3rd consecutive year. And it was a rough game last week, right? It was 52-19. They were beat pretty badly, but they come in and they just played pretty mad tonight, Greg. They, unfortunately, West Claremont was the opponent tonight, and, all sorrows for West Claremont. It was 70, right, 70-19. Greg, it looked like they took out their anger from last week's game, and unfortunately on West Claremont tonight.
Well, I mean, how about your coach, Evan Dreyer, being suspended in week 1? Now he's on the sidelines again. If you don't think that guy makes a difference and that team doesn't follow, like, his mold of who they are, yeah, you're telling me that, no, don't kid yourselves. That team is Evan Dreyer's bunch of kids, and good win, good bounce back. And West Claremont, man, I like what Jeremy Flug's doing over there. They had a good game last week, but man, tonight, the Hornet was in the nest and it wanted to come out and sting.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break, right? We are with you until 11 o'clock. We got so much more to get to. We're going to talk some NKY football, some Eastern Indiana football, and run through some Blitz 5 Top 25. And, of course, we're going to get some winning head coaches on the line with us as well. So stick with us on the High School Football Tonight Show, powered by tristatefootball.com on Fox Sports 1360.
Mello Services has been your one-stop shop for carpet cleaning, window cleaning, and new flooring sales.
No, you're good. So we've got
All right, rolling along. The High School Football Tonight Show, powered by tristatefootball.com, Fox Sports 1360, Safon LV, Greg Shoemaker, tristatefootball.com, going right back to the Underground Sports Shop scoreboard. Greg, and we would be shamed talking about the Blitz 5 game of the week, right? Up there in Westchester, as we were saying, it's a party up in Union Center tonight. Lakota West versus Lakota East, one of the most fun and enjoyable rivalries we have in the entire tri-state area. And this game happening at the beginning of the season this year, Greg. It was at Lakota West, and it was a dominant dominating performance, to say the least. Lakota West came in at number 3. Lakota East came in at number 6, and Lakota West left no doubt a 48-18 domination of Lakota East. Lakota West moves to 2-0 on the season with 2 wins, Greg, against top 10 teams, right? St. X in week 1 and then Lakota East in week 2. Lakota West playing some excellent ball. There's so much, Greg, we have to get into with this game, but Kenyon Norman was the big highlighter of this game. He has been fantastic through 2 weeks. The running back tonight, 13 carries, 262 yards, touchdown runs of 72 and 75 yards, 4 touchdowns. Greg, this Lakota West team couldn't have had a better start through 2 weeks.
No, absolutely. And they had 2 home games, St. X, like you said, in week 1. And, man, I was out there for the start of this game, and just the crowd, the big sea of red, the sea of the black and the gray on the other side of the field. Fantastic stuff. But I got to tell you, man, Kenyon Norman tonight, first big touchdown run right down the middle of the field for 72 yards, broke off another one. This team's good. This team's got so many good parts. Jackson Smith went 8 for 9 for 155 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had, I think, 1 or 2 interceptions last week. He did not have a great game against, he had 2 interceptions against St. X last week. But the thing is, he's thrown the ball just 23 times in 2 games, and they're 2-0. He hasn't had to do a lot other than hand off the ball and be that guy, the field general for him. Defensively, Riley Newman, number 8, has looked fantastic in 2 weeks for the Lakota West Firebirds. Roman Combs, he had a fumble recovery for a touchdown this week. Second straight week they've had a defensive touchdown. This defense is, I can't wait till they play Princeton, because these 2 defenses, and they were tagging people tonight. Judah Blair was tagging people all over the place. Combs now has 4 takeaways in 2 games, 2 interceptions last week, a fumble recovery, and an interception this week. Combs is headed to Purdue. An outstanding, I went out and interviewed all these kids before the season started, and I just had this feeling about they were already locked in about what they needed to do, because going 7-5 last year, before Tom Bolden, 7-5 at Lakota West was a great year. Well, you know what? That was the down year for West last year, and I'm telling you what, this team is really focused in. I can't wait to see what they do the rest of the year. Like I said, I really enjoyed Judah Blair. I was talking about him tagging people. He had 13 tackles tonight, and when he made a tackle, it was a hit that you remembered, right? It was he was all over the place. Riley Newman again, the Iowa commit. He had 8 tackles tonight. A sack and 3.5 tackles for losses. Those two guys are wreaking havoc. One a linebacker, the other sort of a defensive end / inside defensive player.
Yeah, absolutely, Greg. And to a minor degree, this Lakota West defense reminds me of that St. X defense from last year. They made it to the state title game because of all the Division I commits, right? Kenyon Norman, Northwest, Roman Combs going to Purdue, Riley, you just mentioned going to Iowa.
Newman going to Iowa.
There's a lot of D1 commits on this defense, right? High-level Big Ten schools, and that's going to be as awesome as the running game is, and Jackson Smith finally shining as a senior. This defense, just like that St. X team last year, is going to carry them as far as they can go.
Well, and Jimmy Green, he's a junior defensive back. Really like his game. He's got an offer from Miami. And one guy that doesn't have D1 offers is linebacker Andrew Fryer. But this kid comes to play every week too. He's been, I guess he's a 3-year starter now for him. And, he's just one of those kids. He's just a great high school football player. So, like I said, I'm enamored with this team. And they run so many guys out on the defensive line. Like, they were switching defensive linemen every 2 or 3 plays, and that keeps them fresh. So looking forward to see how they go.
Yeah, again, Blitz 5 game of the week tonight, Lakota West versus Lakota East, one of the most enjoyable rivalries we have. Party at Union Center tonight. Lakota West starting the season 2-0 with a dominating performance, 48-18 in our week 2 game of the week. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We still have the number 1 team in our Blitz 5 top 25 to get to as well. Some winning head coaches coming on the other side with you until 11 p.m. Greg Shoemaker, Safwan Ovey. This is the High School Football Tonight Show, powered by tristatefootball.com on Fox Sports 1360.
It's back to school season, and AE Door & Window is offering extra credit. All through August, you can get 0 down, 0 interest for 2 years.
Gotcha.
15% off Provia entry door store.
All right. High School Football Tonight Show, powered by tristatefootball.com on Fox Sports 1360. Stephon LV, Greg Shoemaker, tristatefootball.com. If you are enjoying tristatefootball.com, we know you guys support your team every single Friday night. Now you can support the team that is covering them. That would be tristatefootball.com. If you enjoy what we do and the content that we release, you can help us to keep that going with a tip to TSF. Just visit tristatefootball.com/tip. That's tristatefootball.com/tip. Every tip helps support the coverage of our favorite schools here in the tri-state area. We appreciate everyone's support. All right, back into the Underground Sport Shop scoreboard. Greg, I want to get to a game that is an interstate matchup, a matchup of Blitz 5 top 25 teams. Number 22 Beechwood was taking on number 25 Indian Hill, right? A very fun interstate matchup here tonight, but it was not fun, unfortunately, for the Indian Hill Braves. This was a 42-0 dominating performance. Beechwood getting the win. Noel Rash making his return to Beechwood, right? He was a longtime coach, for those not familiar, right? And then he comes back and is absolutely dominating yet again. Greg, 42-0. Beechwood dominates Indian Hill tonight.
Well, yeah, this is one of those games we looked at on the schedule before it started. It featured two of the area's best baseball players. Devlin Daniel, the quarterback for Indian Hill, our first team preseason tri-state athlete. He's committed to baseball to play for Mississippi State. Senior, he is a senior. And then Tyler Fryman, the wide receiver for Beechwood, he is committed to the University of Kentucky to not only play football, but to play baseball first. He's following in Matt Ponatoski, the old Moeller quarterback's footsteps there at Kentucky. This is one of those games where I thought would be a lot closer, and boy, and keep in mind, Indian Hill played last week. Beechwood was on the first week bye, so this is their first game, and they come out and put that kind of performance up against number 25 team in the Blitz 5 top 25 rankings. Very impressive. Quarterback Emmett Queen, he's committed to Wake Forest, and boy, you got the Covcath Beechwood game coming up here soon. This is going to be a fun one to watch on the schedule. This might be a year where Beechwood gets through there and goes 10-0. Usually they don't, because their first five, they're back into their schedule. Their conference play, they're so much better than everybody in their Class 2A District 5 conference, or district, I should say. But they play a very tough schedule to start the year, Beechwood. Their first 5 games are always tough, and always play Covcath right over the highway there. And this could be one of those years where they go 10-0. It really doesn't happen that often. You know, they go 9-1 every once in a while and lose to Covcath.
Yeah.
So and they don't beat Covcath often, but this could be the year where they get them.
Absolutely. Greg, and while we're talking about some interstate matchups, I want to throw in a little game here. How about Western Brown versus Simon Kenton tonight, right? Another team from Ohio taking on a team from
Coach Murphy's ready.
Northern Kentucky. And Greg, real quick, I know we have a head coach on the hotline here, but how about Simon Kenton with a 34-27 win over Western Brown here tonight?
Yeah, they're 2-0 now. Grant Webb's a good little quarterback over there. I like where they're going. They're going to have a couple of tough games coming up.
Absolutely. And Greg, we are excited now to be joined by our first head coach of the season.
How about that?
On the post-game show here on Fox Sports 1360. He is a friend of the show. He is the head coach of the Winton Woods Warriors. They dominated tonight by a score of 35-0 over Kings, picking up their first win of the season. And to talk about it with us is head coach Chad Murphy. Coach, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on your first win. Talk to me about this win tonight.
It felt good. To be honest, it felt good. It's a little better feeling than last week. You know what I mean? Kings, always a good battle with them, and I think we handled our business and had a good comeback from last week, no doubt.
Yeah, hey, Chad, they always say teams get better from week 1 to week 2. Tell us about your team. How did they get better tonight from last week's 1-point loss to Springfield?
Well, I think our defense played really well last week. I think they played really well again tonight. But offensively, I felt a little bit better. Ran the ball a little bit better tonight, threw the ball a little bit better tonight. So we're going to play great defense around here, and it's just about putting the offense together and getting points. We moved the ball up and down the field last week against Springfield, but we just didn't get the points out of it. So tonight, I scored a few more points, and then obviously that helps.
a second game starter for your junior quarterback, JoJo Jones, and tell us about his growth from week 1 to week 2. I know he had a couple of interceptions last week, but talk about him and how he grew up tonight.
Yeah, he did. He really did. It's kind of tough for a new guy coming in, your first start against Springfield. I mean, people forget them guys played in the D1 state championship in 22, 23, and 24. You know what I mean? So, and Mo Douglas probably going to end up being a Hall of Fame coach. And it's a good program. We beat them the first 2 years we played them and lost a heartbreaker this year in overtime. But JoJo was much better tonight. A little bit quicker in his decision-making, a little bit more disciplined in his footwork. I think he held on to the ball one time a little bit too long and took a sack that he probably shouldn't have took. But he's a great kid. He loves the game. His teammates love him. He works. And he's got some guys to throw it to. So we feel pretty good about him.
Coach, a big strong suit for you guys throughout the first 2 weeks of the season has really been the trenches, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You guys are stopping the run really well. Even in week 1 against Springfield, you guys only gave up 42 yards, less than 3 yards a pop, and you guys held a really good Kings team in check too. Talk to me about the guys in the trenches and how good your run defense is.
Well, like I say it all the time. I mean, it starts with our defensive coordinator, Carlton Gray, and then it goes to obviously with our D-line coach, Rasheen Jones, former player of mine, and Gary Crowley does a great job with the linebackers. So that box is tough. I think it probably wouldn't be Winton Woods football if your box wasn't tough. But we got Miko Williams has played well, a senior that didn't play much last year as a junior. We've got Big Lael Jones. We've got Keon Roberts. We've got Javion McKinney Cooper. And the crazy part about it is us playing as good as we have, in that box and that D line the last 2 weeks. We haven't had Jaden McKinney, big country. I mean, that kid's 6'2", 260. I mean, offers from Tennessee and Iowa, and we haven't had him the last 2 weeks. He hadn't even played. So to get him back this next week should do nothing to just solidify that front even more.
Chad, one of my favorite players on your team this year is Ja'Kai Du Bois. Had a big first week. Tell us about him. I mean, he's sort of like lays back in the crowd there, but boy, on Friday nights he seems to come to play.
Yeah, he's a baller. I mean, JD, we call him JD. I mean, he's a baller. He's a really, really good football player. He had a great off season. Starting in January, he was always a hooper and just kind of made the decision this year to not play. So we had him in the weight room since January. He ran track. He was part of that 4x1 team that finished 7th in the state. He had a really good junior year. I mean, he was our number 2 receiver, but behind Johnny from last year. So JD was really our most dynamic offensive player coming back, other than Zeke. But we needed him at corner, and around here we're gonna play great defense. So he's been primarily a corner. And obviously doing a little bit of punt return, a little bit of kick return here and there. And we're going to get him back on the offensive side here a little bit, pretty soon. But, when he fields them punts, he's dynamic. So he's a big-time player. I think he's going to end up playing some pretty good level college football. So really excited about JD.
Yeah, we're talking to head coach Chad Murphy from the Winton Woods Warriors, a friend of the show. They are now picking up their first win of the season after a 35-0 win over Kings. And, Coach, you guys have played a really tough first 2 weeks of the schedule, right? Definitely one of the top teams in terms of schedule the first couple weeks. Talk to me about how you're feeling going into the rest of ECC play, right? You got your first win at home, right? Big win against one of the best teams in the ECC. You got to be feeling good going into the game against Milford next week.
Yeah, I mean, we felt like we let one get away last week, and playing 9 ECC games. I mean, we can only make our schedule what it is. We get to be a little creative with week 1, but we scrimmaged Moeller in the first scrimmage. We scrimmaged Lakota West in the second scrimmage, and then we opened up with Springfield, and then we go to King. So we feel like our early season. We've seen some pretty good football teams. So we're just going to focus on the moment, focus on us, we're getting better, us getting better. It doesn't really matter who's on the other sideline. I mean, if we take care of us, looking even back to last year, if we just take care of us, we got a chance to have a pretty good football team. So we're excited about week 2. I think we'll be home again against Milford. So yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's head coach Chad Murphy. That's great stuff right there. Coach, we want to appreciate your time for joining us. We really appreciate you. We know you're a friend of the show. Congratulations on a big first win of the season. Good luck the rest of the way, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon, all right?
Yes, sir. Appreciate all you guys do.
Thanks, Coach. Greg, and I'll tell you what, this defense, right, when we talk about Winton Woods, right, defense is always just stout and sound. But when you have got guys all over the front and they can rotate guys, he just talked about getting some guys back who they didn't even have. This Winton Woods team is dangerous going into Division 2.
Oh, they're in Division 1.
Division 1, Region 4. Yeah, not Division 2 anymore.
But, yeah, I mean, their last 4 losses, I think, were by a grand total of 11 points. Look, and they got Milford, Turpin, Walnut Hills, Little Miami, Loveland, their next 5 games. Yeah. So they're going to be able to hone their whole team. And it's then, the last 2 games, the last 3, West Claremont, at Anderson and Lebanon. So that's their by the time they get to West Claremont in week 8, oh, buddy, this team should be really fun to watch.
Yeah, this team has a very good chance, let's put it this way, to be 8-0 going into that Anderson game. Right?
Oh, I
very
think
good
so.
chance, right?
Yeah,
That's a very good chance that they're going to be 8-0, Greg, and getting better and better, right? The rotations, JoJo Jones getting better, right? First-year quarterback over there. This Winton Woods team, as dangerous as they come. Heading back to the Underground Sports Shop scoreboard, Greg, before we hit the top of the hour, right? There's a lot of good stuff happening. How about the GMC, right? Let's talk some GMC football.
GMC football.
Right, maybe a little bit of a surprise. We had a top 20 matchup between Oak Hills, number 19, versus Fairfield. And the last time we checked, we didn't get a final score, but Greg, it was 21-0. Oak Hills was beating Fairfield at the time. I'm looking for some updates here, but the last one I saw was 21-0. How about Oak Hills coming out and putting a good beat down on Fairfield? A lot of people were not expecting that.
Yeah, we had Coach Dan Scholes on in the pregame portion of this show today, and he was like, I like my team. I mean, Lincoln Schreiber last week threw for 5 touchdowns, ran for another one, and that's the 4th time that he's had at least 3 touchdown passes in his last 7 games. I was telling Coach Scholes, I was like, dude, this guy's as good as any quarterback in the GMC right now, Lincoln Schreiber, and he sure plays like in Cordell Ball, his wide receiver. He's something else. They're trying to get the ball into his hands every chance they get. The junior is he's got big time offers. He's going to go Power 4. So I look forward to what they do. Good for Coach Scholes.
Absolutely. And then staying in the GMC, another Blitz 5 top 25 matchup, number 16 Coleraine taking on number 24 Hamilton. Greg, and this looks like a game from maybe 10 years ago with this final score. Coleraine putting up a big number over here, 41-7. Coleraine with a big win. And Greg, this Coleraine team with head coach Stevens coming over from Mount Healthy, right? It was a little bit of a rough first year, right? They were 1-9, trying to figure out the team. But they do have a lot of good skill positions at Coleraine, right? Roman Garr is a quarterback who can fling the ball around, right? They got a lot of good athletes on offense and defense, right? Hamilton, a little bit down this year so far through 2 games. But if you're Coleraine, this is a great game to boost morale to get your first win of the season.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about they got like 10 guys that are all athletes that have Division I FBS offers, and they only have one big guy. Lindsey, Marquise Lindsey Johnson, I think that's it. He's the only big guy in the trenches that has offers, but they needed this win. They had lost like 31 of their last 32 games, something ridiculous. To come out and put that kind of points on the board, get that confidence, which they, like you were saying, Jordan Stevens is going to make this a good team. There's no doubt about it. It's going to rise. They got a new weightlifting facility on the field level out there behind the one concession stand down low, and they're liking where the program's going. Again, they got a lot of kids that are juniors and even their seniors now are starting to play like they're in their 3rd year of starting and playing. And yeah, they've lost. Now they got to learn how to win, and they're legitimately could end up with a winning record in the GMC play for sure. And Oak Hills. Oh, good for them if they pull this one out. I can't wait to see if I can find that final here.
Absolutely. And the GMC, Greg, very deep in the middle, right? If you have teams like Coleraine, right, you get teams like Middletown, right? Kind of between that 3 to 5 range, a very deep conference. And as head coach Stevens said, the rain will reign again, right? So we will see about that here in the future. We're going to take a quick break, right? It's the top of the hour. Greg and I will be with you for the next hour, talking to winning head coaches and talking all things high school football, week 2 of the 2026 season. We'll be right back on the High School Football Tonight show, powered by tristatefootball.com on Fox Sports 1360.
For decades, the Underground Sports Shop has helped teams, schools, businesses, and organizations showcase their pride. From custom apparel and uniforms to screen printing, embroidery, sublimation, and promotional.
Sounds good.
Underground delivers quality products and personalized service. They can even create and manage your online web store, including order fulfillment. Get started today at theundergroundsportshop.com or call 513-751-1662. The Underground Sports Shop, showcasing pride on and off the field.
Hey y'all, this is Aaron Tippett. Being in the music business, traveling, working late, doesn't do great things for my routine. But I found that staying active and making time to work out helps keep my energy where it needs to be to perform my best. No matter what you do or where you are, make time to stay in shape. You'll feel better and have the energy you need to accomplish your goals. This message brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
For more than 20 years, Tri-State Football has had one mission: cover all the schools. Today, that's more than 140
Nothing from Coach Ramsey. Anybody else we'd like to try?
possible. Tip TSF at tristatefootball.com/tip.
Hi, I'm Colonel Greg Gatson, retired Army former.
Sweet. We're probably going to be back before I can get him on the phone, but I'll pop in your ear again and let you know. Yep.
That the road to recovery can be difficult. If you've recently filed a VA disability claim and have to attend a VA claim exam,
All right, stand by.
likely got questions. Search compensation and pension exam on va.gov for the answers you need and the benefits you've earned. Your VA claim exam.
No, sorry. I didn't mean stand by like we have him on the phone. I meant stand by. We're coming back.
All right, top of the hour. Hello, everyone. Welcome in to the High School Football Tonight Show, powered by tristatefootball.com on Fox Sports 1360. High School Football Tonight is brought to you in part by Overhead Door Company of Northern Kentucky, serving greater Cincinnati communities since 1947. Call 513-347-DOOR. Call 513-347-DOOR. Of course, Thomas More University. Expect more from your college experience. Superior teaching, personal attention, Catholic values. At Thomas More University, you can make it more. All right, Greg, jumping right back into the Underground Sports Shop scoreboard, right? We are with you until 11 o'clock talking all things high school football in Southwest Ohio, Eastern Indiana, and Northern Kentucky. Right, we got games going final all over the tri-state. Greg, a Northern Kentucky matchup that I was very interested to see as we take a little trip down to the Bluegrass State. Right, number 15, Highlands, they were taking on Cooper. I didn't get a final score, Greg, on this, but I know Highlands was winning by a lot in this game. I believe it was 28-0 at one point or something very close to that. Looks like Highlands dominating this game. Top 15 team, Highlands with a big win tonight, Greg.
Yeah, they need to get back on this on the right side of the scoreboard. The loss to Frederick Douglass last week, sort of head scratching because we thought they would come out and be very, very good. They got a sophomore quarterback who's in there for the first time last week on the road at Frederick Douglass, but the kid's going to end up being good. This is a good Highlands team. They got a few games right now, but yeah, they took care of business like they should have.
Absolutely. And then traveling across Northern Kentucky, we had Lloyd Memorial. They were taking on Newport tonight, and a shutout was pitched in that game. Lloyd Memorial with a big win, 43-0. Greg, Lloyd looking good for the first 2 weeks of the season.
They really are, and they beat Newcath in week 1, Newport in week 2. This team has won a lot of football games. They won 13 last year. Most of that team is back, except for the quarterback, Caden Evans, who's gone. But Colton Barger is larger than life the last couple of weeks. He played wide receiver last year, had 15 receiving touchdowns and over 1,000 yards receiving. I think he ended up like 20 yards a catch, too. I mean, the kid had a great year, but now he's moved over to playing quarterback. He's a little awkward there. I was talking with Lloyd's our game of the week next week versus Connor, Blitz 5 game of the week, and was talking over there to their athletic director, Bill Pilgrim, and Bill was telling me, he said, yeah, Barger's sort of a baseball. He throws the football like a baseball because he's a pitcher in baseball over there. And, he says he's a little awkward at quarterback, but look, they got the pieces. All he has to do is hand the ball off to Tomlinson and the other running back over there, and they're going to be fine. They're good defensively. They're Class 3A. got a real good shot at going to the state. I mean, this is a legit team.
Yeah, Lloyd with a big win tonight, Greg. Staying in Northern Kentucky, how about Ryle, right? They were taking on Connor tonight, and Ryle with a big win, 36-21. Connor falls to 0-2 on the season. Yeah, we got Daniel King. He's a big fan of the Ryle Raiders over here, right? 36-21, Greg. It was a big bounce-back game because Ryle did play Covington Catholic back in Week 1, and Cath beat them pretty badly. It was a running clock in that game. But, Greg, very promising to see Ryle bounce back and put up 36 points tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they really struggled last week. But, again, Connor's really struggling and with a new head coach over there. This Ryle team is going to be good. I mean, they've won a lot of games. These kids that are seniors have been through the trenches. I mean, they're in their best 3-year stretch of football at Ryle right now than they've ever had in the history of that program. And they've had a couple of teams that have gone to the state finals. So I expect them to bounce back. I expect them and Simon Kenton to really battle it out in Class 6A, District 6. It'll be an interesting rest of the way for Ryle.
Absolutely. And let's jump over to our border friends over there in Eastern Indiana, Greg, right? Because one of our ranked teams in the Blitz 5 Top 25. How about East Central coming in at number 13 in our Blitz 5 Top 25, Greg? And some history was made tonight with their win, a 14-6 win over New Palestine, right? And, Greg, we talked about this. We believe it's a 29-game winning streak snapped, right? New Palestine had a 29-game winning streak that was now broken by East Central with this 14-6 win. Greg, tell me about this New Palestine team and this East Central team.
Yeah, so for the history on this in this series, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, East Central beat New Palestine in the Class 4A state championship game. After that, East Central moved up to Class 5A, and New Palestine stayed in 4A, and they ended up going 14-0, winning the state championship in 2024. Last year, New Palestine moves up to Division 5 or Class 5A and wins the Class 5A state title, and then win their opening game last week, and then have to rematch against East Central, the last team that beat them 29 games ago. And let me tell you about this East Central team. Ryan Mangus and Colton Bellman at running back, very, very good. Ben Bond's a new quarterback, but they've got Brown on the offensive line, a couple of big guys up front on the offensive line. They just got pieces. And look, what do we know about Jake Miner? Young head coach, but they just get it done. They're very prepared every week. Defensively, I mean, to give up just that few points to New Palestine tonight, that's special. I mean, you're talking about Chase McCracken, the junior linebacker, very, very good. Troy Sebastian, their defensive back, very, very good. They got some players, man. And I think Sebastian and McCracken are at least MAC players, if not better.
Absolutely. And, Greg, we're talking about this East Central team, right? Head coach Jake Miners, as you mentioned, already a state champion right back in 2023. Does this officially solidify them back again right at the top of that state championship?
Yeah, because they moved back down. They moved back down to Class 4A.
Yep.
So they've been up in Class 5A. You know, when you win a state title over if you've been really good in Indiana, they'll move you up for a couple of years. And that's what happened to East Central, and it's what happened to New Palestine after winning those 4A state titles.
Absolutely. So, again, East Central breaks number 1 ranked New Palestine's 29-game winning streak. History made.
Last team that lost to. That's crazy.
Yep, a party in St. Leon here tonight.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely. So, Greg, I do want to jump back over to Southwest Ohio, talk about some small schools up in the area, right? How about Valley View? Right, they were taking on Franklin tonight. Another shutout pitch there, 37-0, and then Bishop Fenwick. Right, they were taking on Monroe. Bishop Fenwick with a 41-20 win there. Any thoughts on either of those games?
Sure. I mean, last week Monroe went down and crushed Loveland, and just was a shocker. Loveland's head coach is Bob Mullen, who used to be at Monroe before he was at Loveland. Big shocker in that one. And then for Valley View, they lost last week to Coldwater, who is playing Clinton Massey tonight at Clinton Massey. But Valley View went up to Coldwater and lost that game. The year before, they had a great game with Valley View, 49-48, one of the great opening week games that we saw in 2025. But man, yeah, I love Valley View. Matt King does a great job there. I think they're going to be a very, very good team. They're in Division Division IV, Region 16 with Wyoming and
Indian Hill
and Taft. Yeah, yep. So going to be a good year for them. Valley View's, they're legit to win that region.
Absolutely. And then continuing on, and with the small schools in Ohio, how about Taylor, right? They were taking on Batavia tonight, and yet again, a shutout pitch, 27-0, Greg. Big win for Taylor tonight.
Big win for Taylor. They got Lawrenceburg in the Route 50 Rumble next week. That's going to be always a good game. Want to see where they're at, because I think we were talking about Lawrenceburg earlier over in Indiana. They were pulling off a big win over a Class 5A school. They're, Lawrenceburg a Class 3A school. So, that game against Taylor next week, it's always a fun game. That's one of Lawrenceburg and East Central to start the year. Lawrenceburg and Taylor out there on the west side. East Central and Harrison. Those games are coming up here in the next couple of weeks. It's good football out there on the west side of town.
Absolutely. And then some other games going around the tri-state area. St. Bernard Elmwood Place, they were taking on Finneytown tonight, and St. Bernard Elmwood Place with a 38-8 victory there, Greg. And St. Bernard Elmwood Place has had some pretty good.
Derek Rehage is ready.
Yeah, they've had some pretty good years over the last couple years, right? It's good to see St. Bernard Elmwood Place kind of continue their winning ways. That
and I think they're going to be good. Lucas Kennedy's a 4-year starter at quarterback, broke all their school records. They know how to win. They got a lot of guys that have played a lot of football.
Absolutely. Greg, and we were just talking about the west side, right? So how about we just talk to a winning head coach from over there on the west side? How about the Harrison Wildcats? They took down McNick tonight by a score of 28-0, a shutout pitch by the Wildcats. And here to talk about that game is head coach Derek Rehage, the head coach from Harrison. Coach, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Talk to me about this big 28-0 win tonight, a shutout pitched for your Wildcats.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for having me so much. And, I can't
You guys can take this as long as you want. I'll move the spots around. I know he popped in late.
We're long on the back end, and we're physical and fast, and we played really well. And then on offense, Brady LaHan really is the catalyst that starts us. I think we had like 250 yards passing again and 180 yards rushing. So we really just are a very well-balanced offense.
Derek, when I came out and watched you guys practice, and you lost 3 regular season games last year by 10 total points, I think, or 7. Was it 7 total points? 4, 2, and 1, or something?
It was 5.
5, yeah.
It was 5.
Yeah, but your guys really bought into focusing on making sure that they closed out games, and boy, it's really showing through the first week about how much they've stepped it up and really believe that they feel that they can go 10-0, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, and then the goal we talk about every week, we'll get home and enjoy this one, and tomorrow morning we're turn back the clocks and we're 0-0. And every week our goal is to go 1-0, and that's the only thing we focus on each week is going 1-0. And but yeah, they really are. This is a great unit, and sure we're gonna have our ups and downs, but really as a team, it really is a great team, and they put each other first, and it all starts with our seniors. Just a great group, love them to death, and they're phenomenal to coach.
Yeah, Coach, and talking about some of the games that you guys have had at the beginning of this year, 2 games in, and even basically all of last year, all of your guys' losses, even going back to last year, were very close, kind of knit and pick type of losses. Seems like your guys are in every single game, no matter who the opponent is, and that's got to feel good knowing that your team plays really well through adversity and always comes back stronger.
Yeah, and I think that was what led us to a lot of our success late in the season last year, and we had some bumps and bruises along the way, but it led us to feel the success. And it just we don't crumble under the pressure. And it's the great thing about this group. And we've traveled a lot this spring and summer for 7-on-7 and played in some pressure situations there. And when it rolls over to Friday nights, it's much easier for the boys when they've had that experience. And whenever you have an experienced, senior quarterback and a junior and 2 juniors and Colton and Christian at tight end and H, and then 2 great receivers and Dylan Witt and Kyle Davidson, and then we throw Ben in there some, and we really got an explosive offense. Wyatt Dennis, the running back, and we're really, we're tough to defend on offense right now.
Are you guys on the bus on the way home?
We are.
All right. Do you guys have a cheer that you could do for us on the way? You guys have outscored your opponent 63-0 through 2 weeks. You got to have a big cheer. Can you guys give us a cheer on the bus?
Yeah, how about some green juice on 3? Does that work?
Yeah, let's do some green juice on 3.
Hey, gentlemen, you're on the radio. They want to hear green juice on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Love that stuff. Hey, Derek, you were talking a little bit about Ben Markarian playing a little bit of offense, but talk about diversity, guys that now you can plug in and play on both sides of the ball, give some guys some rest. How good is that now for you guys this season? Because it seems like you can interchange parts on both sides of the ball.
For sure, and this is probably the first time in the last 3 years where we start 22 guys. We start 22 on offense, 22 on defense. We do play a couple here or there. Christian Rother plays a little D-line. Colton Rehage plays some outside linebacker. Trey Fetty plays some inside linebacker. Kyle Davidson's the backup DB. And then Ben comes over and plays offense. Izzy Taylor comes over and just spills guys because they have certain skill sets that we want to see on offense. But we do start 22 guys right now on offense.
Absolutely. That's
and
great.
Defense, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. Yeah, very deep team. You guys have been dominant for the first 2 weeks of the season. Coach, I want to thank you so much again. That's head coach Derek Rehage from Harrison. The Wildcats are 2-0 on the season. Again, Coach, we appreciate your time and being a friend of the show. Congratulations on a big win, and I'm sure we'll catch up again soon, all right?
All right, thanks, guys.
And Greg, I'll tell you what. Right, this Harrison team,
they're all legit, man.
In terms of how good the West Side is with these football teams, Harrison is right in that conversation.
They had their game face back on in June, July, way early in this. When I went out to saw those guys, much like Lakota West, these kids, they're hungry for it, and they know that they need to just close things out, and that's what they've done. 63-0. They went into McNick tonight and put a 28 spot up on them and not get scored upon.
They pitched a shutout that as well.
Oh,
right, dominating
buddy, I'm
shutout.
telling you.
Yep, Harrison dominating for the first 2 weeks of the season. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We still have a lot to get through our Blitz 5 Top 25, right? We'll talk about some NKY teams, some Southwest Ohio teams, and some fun matchups, right? Because we had parties all across the tri-state area. Safon LV, Greg Shoemaker, tristatefootball.com. This is the High School Football Tonight Show on Fox Sports 1360.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens, making it harder to fight illnesses.
Cool. I'll try Simon Kenton first. If he doesn't answer, I'll go back to Ramsey.
And can help protect you from getting really sick.
Gotcha. I'll try them all. I'll let you guys know.
See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you or a loved one has sleep apnea, you can help advance research that may lead to a cure. myapnea.org is an online community where providers, researchers, families, and patients can share and learn from each other. Fill out the online survey and wake up to a better future at myapnea.org, a public service from the American Sleep Apnea Association.
Labor Day deals are looking good at Lowe's. Save $10 on 1-gallon cans and $50 on 5-gallon pails of select interior paint via rebate. Plus, get 2 2.5-quart or 3-quart mums for just $8. A fresh look and even better. On now.
Coach Wynn is on the line.
Online. Valid through 9/9. While supply.
Yeah, Simon Kenton.
License vary by location and exclude Alaska and Hawaii. See store at Lowe's.com for more details.
I expected it to be a lot easier.
I thought it was going to be a piece of cake. I didn't know what step to take next.
I was transitioning from the military.
I was a vehicle gunner.
An avionics specialist.
I was an MP, military police.
My friends thought I could do anything.
I missed my unit, my family.
Playing with my daughter, I felt like a stranger.
I was overwhelmed.
I couldn't sleep.
I just wanted to be by myself.
I didn't have a clear sense of what to do next.
I was too proud. And then I thought, if I'm going through this, other veterans have gone through it too, right?
I started to open up.
And it made a huge difference.
So I reached out and I saw that I wasn't alone.
Because before I was able to take on my next...
Stand by.
I had to take on just taking care of myself.
To find
purpose. Go to maketheconnection.net to learn how other veterans have overcome the challenges of transitioning out of the military.
All right, rolling right along. 10:20 p.m., and we are not even close to tired. Greg Shoemaker, Safon LV, tristatefootball.com, and we are getting right along with a little Northern Kentucky action. We have another winning head coach on the hotline with us right here. We have Simon Kenton head coach Joe Wynn on the line with us. They are now 2-0 on the season after a 34-27 win over Western Brown, an interstate matchup. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Talk to me about this big win tonight, and how do you feel being 2-0 on the season?
It's nice to get a win. I don't think we played very well, but anytime you get a win, you don't play very well. It's nice to move on 2-0, but we got a lot to clean up and get ready for Cupcake next week.
Teachable moments this week at practice, huh, Coach?
Practice, game, all of it. We've got to play better and we got to execute better, but a win's a win, I guess. But we got a lot of work to do.
Let's talk a little bit about your backfield. Grant Webb, back for your Webb's there, and the running back. You guys are both juniors. Talk a little bit about those guys and what they mean to making you guys go on offense, especially.
Yeah, I mean, I feel really comfortable with our backfield. Peyton Testerman, Mo Smith, Jason Rabe, all three at running back, and then obviously Grant at quarterback. Grant's 6'5". He's gained 25 pounds in the offseason. He's hard to bring down. He's a thoroughbred. He can spin the ball too. And then between those three guys, though, Mo is lightning. Mo is fast. Mo can put his foot in the ground and go 80 in a blink of an eye. Peyton's thunder, a little bit of lightning there too, and he had an 80-yard touchdown run to start the game for us too for our first touchdown. So, and then Jason's more thunder. He's going to run through you and over you, and not really around you. But between those three guys together, and then you add in Grant and some quarterback runs, some dynamic read stuff. They mean the world for us, especially right now.
Yeah, Coach, and when talking about your team, right, as you mentioned, there are some teachable moments, but right, you guys are 2-0. And a big thing that helps you guys throughout the year is that strength of schedule, right? You guys play a lot of good quality teams up there in Northern Kentucky. Talk to me about how week by week you feel your team gets better. And, being 2-0 is a lot better learning than being 0-2, right?
Yeah, no doubt. At the end of the day, you always want to win on Friday. And, these first 2 weeks, very teachable moments coming through. And then, obviously, next week is Cupcast. And you'd rather watch the film and critique off the win than you would have lost. And obviously, our strength of schedule is going to kick up a notch the next 2 weeks between Cupcake and Beechwood. And, we've got to take care of the ball in the second half tonight. We fumbled a couple times, non-forced turnovers, just some quarterback, running back exchange stuff. I think they forced one fumble, but quarterback, running back exchange stuff that, we've got to emphasize ball security this week and high risk and stuff like that. And, securing the catch. We had too many drop passes tonight that guys are running down the field wide open. That should be touchdowns. And, altogether, we got to execute better offensively and defensively. A lot of teachable moments tonight.
Joe, this is your third year at Simon Kenton. Tell us a little bit about from when you started with the program, where it was to where it is now. What are you really feeling comfortable about how the program has progressed in your two years?
Yeah, so this is year 2 for me.
Okay.
Honestly, the kids. I think the biggest thing is the kids got to know you, and you got to know the kids and have really good relationships. And I feel like I have a lot of really good relationships with my kids. They come in my room, we watch film throughout the day, eat lunch and stuff like that, and talk about more than football. So, to me, if we can build really good relationships, our kids are going to try and run through a brick wall for us and not let us down. So, that's to me the biggest key is that. But we have our scheme in, and we have what we can do and who we are and stuff like that. So, but just the kids understanding what we're doing schematically and how we can execute at a higher level, and make some adjustments. They know a lot of our adjustments already, so we're not drawing it up on the board. And this is year 2 for our kids playing both ways. They haven't played both ways at Simon for over a decade. So now we're catching up on reps, but so we got to execute there and just keep building quality depth.
Joe, when you play a team like Western Brown that slings it all over the field, for you as a coach, I mean, you don't see that sort of, that kind of offense very often. But as a coach and a coaching staff, what is it that you look for and take from a game playing a team that's so different?
Honestly, how can we adjust? I think in the second half, going into halftime, we're in a shootout. We made some adjustments defensively and really kind of challenged them just to run the ball. And then I thought we played really well in the second half defensively. And how can we apply our adjustments? And really, we probably should have pulled a linebacker and got out of our base type of stuff and put more skill, speed on the field. But even in the second half, through the adjustments we did, they scored on short fields. In the fourth quarter there, we had a bad snap on a punt. They recovered on 10-yard line, went and scored. And then we had we punted the ball. We got a personal foul or unsportsmanlike on us in a 2-minute drill for them. So they moved the ball 15 yards. After a 30-yard completion, we give them 15 yards and they go score the next play. So before you blink an eye, with a minute and a half left, it goes from a 2-score game from a 3-score game in 3 minutes to a 1-score game, and our back's against the wall. We got to respond, and our O-line answered the bell there, and Grant and our running backs getting a first down. Knowing everybody's going to run. Everybody knows we're going to run the ball there, and so a lot of teachable moments there. And it's different. You know, they go empty and they spread the rock, and it's kind of pick your poison. Do you rush 6 and try to get home, or do you drop coverage? And I feel like we had about 5 or 6 sacks, but then we give up an explosive play. We keep our eyes in the backfield instead of on our keys and our receivers and stuff like that. So we've got to be a lot better across the board and honestly put the pieces together better.
Awesome stuff right there. That is head coach Joe Wynn from Simon Kenton. They are 2-0 on the year after a interstate win against Western Brown, 34-27. Coach, again, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you taking your time. Again, congratulations on a big win, 2-0, and I'm sure we'll catch up again soon, all right?
Yeah, thanks, sir.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
How about that? 2-0, but now you got Cokeath and Beechwood looming.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It's the learning experience, right? You win, You're 2-0. They got a lot to be happy about, right? As Coach talked about, it's better to celebrate 2-0 than being 0-2 with Cokeath looking at you in the mirror, right? So 2-0, a lot to celebrate there, Greg. And the interstate matchups, Greg, that's kind of been a theme of our week 2 here tonight. So I would like to jump into another interstate matchup right over here. We had Baden, number 20 in our Blitz 5 Top 25. They were taking on Dixie Heights, right, Greg? And Baden with a big win over there, 42-13. Baden, Greg, looking strong to start the season, 2-0.
They really are, and they lost a lot of players, and they are doing what they do under Nick Yorty, winning games and playing defense. Their schedule is going to get a little tougher as it goes along, but yeah, I mean, you got to get the W's, and they're getting it and doing it well. A win over Hamilton and a win over Dixie Heights. You're a division, I think they're Division 3. They might have moved up to 2, but I think they're 3. But yeah, I mean, 2 big wins to start the year.
Absolutely. Baden 2-0, and as we mentioned, Hamilton, they lost 41-7 to Coleraine tonight, and the Hamilton and Baden scores are brought to you by A.E. Door and Window Company. A.E. Door and Window Company, they sell the best and service the rest. Our thanks and shout out to Bill and Adam Weber for their continued support for high school football throughout the years. Greg, real quick, I do want to talk about quickly the number 1 team right in our Blitz 5 Top 25, right? We've been going all over the tri-state area here tonight, but number 1 has not been mentioned. How about the Princeton Vikings, right? They were in a top 10 matchup again to kick off the season, and they won, Greg, by a score of 28-7, right? So they are 2-0, a little bit more sloppy in this game. Maybe
they were sloppy.
A little bit of a sloppy game, right? It was 28-7. Defense played pretty well, but again, 2-0. Learning 2 really good defenses that they played with Moeller, against Middletown. And then speaking of it from the Middletown point of view, goodness gracious, you played Moeller and you played Princeton in the first 2 weeks of the season. So Princeton is 2-0, Greg, but Middletown, I think, still has a very good team, and they're going to get better as the year goes on.
Yeah, you look, their line play has to get a lot better up front. They're not running the football very well tonight. Princeton held them to 45 yards rushing on 26 carries. 114 total yards of offense in the game, but 3 Princeton turnovers and 14 Princeton penalties for 137 yards. Well, you can keep yourself in a game like that, especially when you're only 2 for 12 and on 3rd down conversions and 1 for 4 on 4th down conversions. So Middletown's stuck in there, but definitely a little bit of a hangover from that first week win for Princeton, a bunch of sloppy play for sure.
Yeah, it seems like Princeton is ready to play in that new stadium that they got building over there, that Jake Sweeney Stadium. As every time I pass it, Greg, going down 75, it looks pretty nice.
It looks pretty nice.
It does look pretty nice. Princeton ready for some home games. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Right, we're still with you until 11 p.m. We're going to talk about the Blitz 5 Top 25, some of the best teams across the tri-state area. Right, we'll get to some Northern Kentucky and Indiana action as well. And, of course, head coaches on the hotline as well. We'll be right back on the High School Football Tonight Show, powered by tristatefootball.com on Fox Sports 1360.
Mela Services has been your one-stop shop for window cleaning, carpet cleaning, and
sounds good.
For more than 17 years. Save $41.
Cool.
Award-winning window cleaning service and get 40 windows cleaned for only $479. Check us out at melaservices.com.
Got a car
A little bumper, yeah.
Veterans and turn it
sounds good.
Support for our nation's heroes. It's fast, free, and helps those who served. Visit dav.org/cars.
Yes, sir. I got them in a little folder.
As a truck driver, I've learned how important road safety is. I know that large trucks need more time and room to stop. That's why I always hang back and follow other vehicles at a safe distance. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're driving, try to remember to always give trucks extra space when you merge in front of them. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Make ordering custom gear easy with Underground Sports Shop. They'll create your apparel, build an online web store, and handle fulfillment for your team, school, or business. Visit theundergroundsportshop.com. The Underground Sports Shop, showcasing pride on and off the field.
Over the past few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected how we live our daily lives.
Today, 1 in 5 Americans experience emotional and mental health challenges, but many of us do not understand what we are facing or how to ask for help.
At the American
All right, we got Coach Bolden on the line and stand by.
To eliminate stigma, combat mental illness, and substance use disorder.
He sounded pretty excited.
Mental health.
If you or someone you love needs help, you are not alone. Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
All right, rolling right along. It's the High School Football Tonight Show, powered by tristatefootball.com on Fox Sports 1360. Safwan Alvi with Greg Shoemaker, tristatefootball.com. And we are excited to be joined by our next winning head coach of the evening, the coach from our Blitz 5 Top 25 game. It was a party up in Westchester tonight over there in Union Center. We have a friend of the show for as many years as we can remember, head coach Tom Bolden from the Lakota West Firebirds, joining us on the hotline tonight. They won 48-18. Coach, it's great to talk to you again, right? It must be football season. Of course, we appreciate you coming on as always. Talk to me about this big win tonight in a very fun and exciting rivalry.
Hey, it's my pleasure. But I told Greg, I want to know who wrote the other article and picked against it.
James Sprague, my man over there.
You tell James, Coach sees everything now. He owes me one, goddamn it.
Absolutely. Hey,
listen. Great team win. I mean, the kids, we had a great week of practice. I mean, it's hard because you beat a good St. X team and you worry about they think they've arrived and all that, but we took every day to get bigger and better, and I kind of liked having that big one right after St. X because the kids knew that with this rivalry they had to pick it right back up.
Yeah, I was like, you play that 9-game GMC schedule, but you're right. I mean, having that back-to-back games to start off the season against 2 top opponents, fantastic way to start it. But, Coach, I want to talk to you a little bit out there watching your defense tonight. Guys just flying around and hitting people. I mean, Combs now has got 4 takeaways in 2 games. Riley Newman has just been a disruptive force. And Judah Blair, I mean, every time you watch him, he's tagging somebody out there on the field. You got to be proud of that defensive performance.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We've always prided it on, we're going to get all those dudes there on defense and let them do what they do. We've got – Kenyon Norman knows how to play outside linebacker too. So it's one of those things we've said way back from the days of Corey and things like that. We've always even Kerry was there. And let's talk about run fast and hit hard. If you can run fast and hit hard, you can do a lot of things. And, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids, they're going to make mistakes, but I always tell them, make a fast one. You make a mistake, make a fast one, and it can make up for some things. So that's how we play. We're going to be fast and physical for sure.
Yeah, Coach. I want to talk to you quickly about quarterback Jackson Smith, right? Because he's been getting varsity snaps since he was a freshman, right? He's been kind of playing sporadically throughout the years. He was really efficient tonight, right? 8 of 9. He did what you guys asked him to do, had 2 touchdowns, didn't turn the ball over. Talk to me about his development over these years and how important he's going to be as you guys go through this GMC stretch run.
Oh, it's been tremendous. His freshman year, that first game, I threw him against St. X, and I thought somebody was going to call the police on me, like 2 4-1 kids or something. I mean, it was abuse. And I had to take a step back and said, I might ruin this kid if I do that. So kind of reeled him back in a little bit, let him learn, understand Wiles a little bit, but he's a tremendous young man from a tremendous family, and he takes the hard coaching for sure. And I've always told the kids, when you coach your son a quarterback for 4 years there, and and you're hard on them. You know what I mean? I said, I'm going to coach them like you're my son. So, and he's taken to it. And then he had just a tremendous night where he just threw his deep ball was so good to Carmelo, and Carmelo went and got it. So, yeah, it was great seeing that combination get going.
Yeah, and we can't talk about the man. We got to talk about the man of the hour, Kenyon Norman. 13 carries, 262 yards, 4 touchdowns, broke off 2 70-yard runs. I mean, what an amazing night. How fun was it for you as a coach to watch this kid have a breakout game like that?
I tell people, I mean, think about it. He had 116 yards against St. X.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time St. X gave a 116-yard rusher last week. Like, there are a lot of great running backs. I don't take anything from anybody. But I'm telling you, the combination of what he brings, I mean, 6'1", 195 pounds, his strength and speed. He loves the weight room. He loves learning football. But he's an even better kid than he is football player. Think about it. He just started playing football in 8th grade.
Wow.
Like, his best football has had him. But like I said, I think the combination of his character, his ability, and things like that, I think he's the best. And obviously I may be biased, and no disrespect to all those other good running backs out there, but when they say he's the guy, he's the guy. There's no question about that. He runs with an attitude.
We're talking to head coach Tom Bolden from the Lakota West Firebirds. He was the theme of tonight, our Blitz 5 Top 25 Game of the Week. Coach, and I would love for you to talk about the atmosphere of that game tonight, right? There was over 7,000 people. Of course, it was a beautiful night over there in Westchester. It just seemed like the whole fan base, everyone was going crazy. It was fun. The pregame was exciting, right? And then continuing as the game, it continued to be a really fun environment. Talk to me about the fan base, the community over there in Lakota, because it's a really fun rivalry. It's a really healthy rivalry. I know you and Coach Kitten are friends. Talk to me about the atmosphere here tonight.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, we sold out, I think, by Tuesday morning in terms of tickets and things like that. My son Mitch, who plays in Miami, came down with some buddies, a couple of them from Chicago that played and all that, and they were like, man, this is different down here. This is really, really cool. So it was cool today. Got to see that kind of environment. But, man, that's what it's all about. I mean, it's a little ugly at times, not involved with the teams, and it's kind of a little bit outside of it, gets a little bit ugly at times because it gets a little competitive. But these kids grew up playing with each other, in the Tomahawks and the Lightning, and then now they're playing against each other. And I mean, it's just what high school football is all about. 7,000 people on a beautiful night cheering and going nuts, and it's just a beautiful thing to see for sure. I told the woman before, I said, just imagine if we were one high school. I mean, they got some dudes, we got some dudes. Holy cow, we'd have. I mean, that'd be something now for sure.
Hey, Tom, before I let you go,
maybe I think I'm gonna lobby for that, boys. I'm gonna go talk to the superintendent on Monday.
I like where you're heading with it. Hey, I want to go back to the preseason part of this year. I came up and I interviewed a bunch of your players, all your seniors, basically, except for Judah. But all these guys last year, like they took it to heart that the 7-5 wasn't good enough. And when I interviewed them, one of the best interview days I had all preseason was these kids really they felt like we weren't as good as we should have been, and they took it to heart and they played a lot of football. Talk about the development of this team from last year through the preseason to now being 2-0. I mean, I really felt like these kids, they were honed in on getting it done. They really put the onus on themselves and accountability.
Yeah, listen, it sounds crazy to say. We were a very talented, we were a very good team last year, but we weren't a very good team. I mean, it was just one of those things in terms of we just did click when we needed to click, and hell, maybe it's ultimately my fault. And we talked all season about it. That the standard. I heard Mike Thomas say it one time, and I thought it was awesome. Like, the standard is the standard. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we're going to do. This is how I expect it. This is how I coach. This is the time I put it in, and the kids have bought in, and that's where we want to be. You know what I mean? And that's why football is the greatest sport that there is out there. No disrespect to those other sports, because it so symbolizes life as it is and things like that where it's hard. I mean, think about it conceptually. You practice 4 days. You come in on a Saturday tomorrow, we are going to lift, I am going to run them, and I'm going to watch film, and I'm going to yell at them. So it's 5 days that they grinded out for 48 minutes on a Friday night. You know, that's it. That's all they get. That's all they get. That's why I talk to them. I say, guys, it's 48 minutes for the rest of your life. You make memories, and it's about that, and it's about what you put into it. And I said, it's hard, but that's what anything in life that you're going to do, your family, your relationships, your wife, your kids, and all, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. So if 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids get a little taste of what's hard, and maybe in the long run, they'll look back on it 30, 40 years from now and say that crazy Coach P, he did know what he was talking about.
Man, that's great stuff. Coach, just one thing before I let you go. I want to talk about just a little bit of the diversity you have on the offensive side of the ball, right? Being able to be multiple, right? Yeah. We talked about Kenyon Norman, right? Feeding him the ball, 13 to 20 times. But then also Carmelo Jordan, who you mentioned, right? He's turning into a really nice deep threat for you guys. 3 receptions for 120 yards, 2 touchdowns tonight, and even at 86 yards against St. X. Talk to me about this offense, right? Jackson's not turning the ball over. You got a deep threat in Carmelo being able to run the ball with Kenyon. It's a very diverse and balanced offense, and you got to feel good going into week 3 knowing that, you can pass, run, and be balanced on both sides.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we got 4 wide receivers that they're all kind of cut from the same cloth as Melo. Melo just happens to be the senior of all of them, but they're long, they're fast, they got great hands. They're real coachable kids, so it makes them excellent. You got Roan, who plays wide receiver, that we didn't use him tonight, obviously, because, we didn't need him, but that's a whole nother threat at 6'4", 212. And then we just happen to have a tight end that's going to Louisville that's 6'6", 250 pounds. So, yeah, that helps. And then when you got a running back, but I'll tell you, I tell you where we're vastly improved is up front. And anybody will tell you that's where it starts. And I tell them, I said, guys, Kenny don't need much. Those little guys don't need much. Jackson will do what he needs to do. So we got some good chemistry cooking there. We got some good weapons, and it makes it difficult for defenses to prepare for them.
That's some great stuff right there. That is head coach Tom Bolden from the Lakota West Firebirds, the Blitz 5 Top 25 Game of the Week, Lakota East versus Lakota West. Tom Bolden's team, 48-18 win tonight. They moved to 2-0. Coach, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you being a friend of the show. We love talking ball with you. Again, congratulations on a big win, and I'm sure we'll catch up again soon, all right?
Hey, appreciate you guys, man. Love what you guys do. You guys keep killing it, man. Love it. But you tell our boy, I'm looking for him. Picking against it.
I'll make sure we get him to do a preview in the playoffs and talk you down, too.
Love it.
Thanks, Coach.
Right, boys,
we appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.
See you, Tom.
See you guys.
And Greg,
he's the best, man.
I mean, this is what it's all about, right? I mean,
yeah, he's
bottom
so
line,
fired up.
Guys who love, coaches who love their players. The atmosphere, 7,000 people in Westchester tonight. Right, as you mentioned, it was just everything about the night. We were getting pictures, just the atmosphere, right? Lakota West versus Lakota East. At the end of the day, Greg, that's what high school football is all about.
Yeah, it is, and exactly. I mean, you do this for as many years as we've done this, to go out on the sidelines and just kick it like that tonight, and with everybody out there. My grandson Hudson Elrod was out there. My son-in-law Joe was out there too, and my grandson's first game, and when the band came out, and the band's twice the size of the football team. There's so many people in it, and it was everything football was supposed to be.
Absolutely. Just an awesome night over there in Lakota West. They win 48-18. All right, we're going to take our last break of the evening. The show is going quick, but that's what happens when you have a lot of fun, right? Talking ball. So again, we're going to take our final break. We'll run through the scoreboard, right? Talk about some of the big teams, talk about some of the big matchups, and even what we're looking forward to as we head into week 3 of the 2026 season. So we'll be right back on the High School Football Tonight show, powered by tristatefootball.com on Fox Sports 1360.
Listen and imagine.
Do you guys want me to still try Coach Ramsey? All right, I'll try him again, see what he says.
Seconds to send a text. For those 5 seconds, you're...
All right, if he pops on the line or gives us an answer, I'll let you guys know.
Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
18 acres of pre-owned vehicles and peace of mind come standard. Kelsey Chevrolet offers family pricing, a no-hassle live market pricing approach, lifetime powertrain protection, and guaranteed credit approval. That's how pre-owned should feel. Kelsey Chevrolet, we drive peace of mind.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org.
Don't just go
today.
back to school. Accelerate your career with a business degree from Thomas More University. Our accelerated 100% online degrees will give you the skills you need to get ahead and stay there. Visit thomasmore.edu to learn more.
Hey y'all, I'm Blake Shelton. I love that country music connects people all over this great nation, but unfortunately so does something else, childhood hunger. 15 million children struggle with hunger in America. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks works to rescue our
Stand by. We've got Coach Ramsey on the line.
in need across the country. Join the fight against hunger at feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back in. The High School Football Tonight Show, powered by tristatefootball.com on Fox Sports 1360. Safwan LV and Greg Shoemaker from tristatefootball.com. We want to give a big thank you and shout out to our sponsors here at tristatefootball.com. They are proud supporters of high school football. Gold Star Chili, follow your own recipe. Mellow Window and Carpet Cleaning, the best in residential cleaning services. The Underground Sports Shop, showcasing pride on and off the field. And right after we get off here, make sure to tune in to WLWT Blitz 5. They are live at 11 from all the scores and highlights from across the area. Join Charlie Clifford and Jaron May at 11 o'clock on WLWT Channel 5. All right, Greg, as we get ready to put a ribbon around this week 2, we got to talk to the head coach of maybe the single most impressive team in the tri-state area so far. And we are talking about the Elder Panthers as they took on Covington Catholic tonight, right? Number 2 versus number 14. And Elder dominated this game. It was a 56-20 win for head coach Doug Ramsey and the Elder Panthers. And he is gracious enough to join us after a big win. Coach, congratulations on a big win tonight. You guys are 2-0 on the season. Talk to me about this game against a very high-level Northern Kentucky team and being 2-0 on the season.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on here. It was a good game. We got to a good start. You know, we got to stop early, and then we scored on our first play, and then they scored, and we got the ball back and scored on our second play of the game. So we got off to a fast start on offense, and it just kind of kept rolling from there.
Doug, I mean, Caden Eastep is 3-year starter. I remember when he was a sophomore, you came on this show and told us, like, this is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever had in my 30 years here. And he did it again tonight, more than 100 yards rushing and well over 100 yards, 357 yards through the air. 5th time in the last 10 games he's had more than 100 yards rushing and 100 yards passing in a game. But, boy, I mean, the efficiency with what he does on every play is something special. 546 yards of total offense tonight, and it seems like every time you called a play, it was a positive outcome.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think the thing about Caden is that he's just, you know, he's obviously throws the ball very well. He runs the ball very well. He's a very explosive athlete and all those kinds of things. But I think more than anything, his understanding, when you talk about his efficiency, you know, he knows where to go with the ball, you know, and that's the big thing in our offense. We're always like, there's going to be somebody open if you understand the coverage and you know where the ball goes, and he's just so good at that. It's not like he locks in, I'm going to throw the ball to this guy every time. He's like, hey, who's ever in that spot that's going to be open, that's who I'm throwing to.
Coach, and we would be remiss talking about Caden, and obviously we could talk about him for 2 hours, but his running mate, right? How about Andrew Lyman, right? A transfer from you guys, and he has been absolutely spectacular for the first 2 games as well. 145 yards and 4 touchdowns against Middletown, and then 123 yards and 2 touchdowns against Covcath. And again, those are 2 really good defenses too, right? Middletown and Covcath, both excellent defenses. Talk to me about his presence that's helped Caden and just the entire offense in general.
Well, he's a guy that's just fast. He's something that we really haven't had. We started our first play of the game. We just, we call it a gopher route. He's going to run just going to take off and run a streak, but the corner drops at 14 yards. He puts his foot in the ground and comes back to the quarterback. Well, he just blew past the DB, and Caden laid it out there. And, first play, the offensive play of the game, you get a 65-yard touchdown. So it was a great way for us to start.
Defensively, your linebacking crew with Pete Forkamp, Brody Turner, Paff, and Dugan, and now Braden Tepe is stepping in. And talk about having that kind of depth there and being able to rotate guys that, it doesn't seem like you lose anything when any of those guys are in the game.
Yeah, I think that's, I think our front seven is really pretty strong. I think our D-line's done a good job, and our linebackers. Yeah, you talk about Pete Forkamp. He's a big-time football player. I think he's going to be a kid that can play at a high level in college. And, just having a bunch of guys there like that run around and are physical and make plays, it puts a lot on the on offensive lines and quarterbacks. So we just got to kind of shore things up a little bit in the secondary, a little bit more. We're getting. It's almost like our safeties want to be like linebackers. They want to get too involved with what's going on in front of them, and we had a couple of balls go over our heads today, and we can't allow that kind of stuff to happen.
Yeah, Coach, and then talking about your team, you guys are very multiple on both sides of the ball, as you just mentioned, right? Outside of there was a big Covcath 68-yard pass, but outside of that, you guys have limited the big plays. Kyan Miller's a great running back over there at Covcath and only had 4.2 yards per game in this game specifically. It seems like you guys are pretty balanced, right, through the run game defense, pass game defense, as you guys continue to improve. But how do you feel after these 2 games as you get ready to start GCL South play next? You guys are 2-0, but a lot of things you guys can improve on, but there's a lot to be happy about as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lot to be happy about, and I told people this is going to be a team. It's going to be a work in progress. I knew there were certain areas we were going to be good. I knew we were going to be good at quarterback. I knew we were going to be good at wide receiver. I knew our linebacking core, especially the inside guys, were going to be good. But everybody else was kind of new. Everybody said, "Oh, you guys are going to be so good." I'm like, well, we lost a lot of players from last year. You don't replace Derek Uran just by saying, "Hey, you guys go out there and play." Derek was the best defensive player I've coached in 30 years here. So we had some holes to fill, and we have 4 new offensive linemen. You just don't know how those things are going to work. And I think our guys are really buying in. They work hard, and they believe in what they're doing themselves. So I see us being able to continue to get better and be a pretty good team as we get to the end of the season.
We're talking with Doug Ramsey, the head coach of the Elder Panthers. They are now 2-0 after a 56-20 win at Covcath tonight. And Doug, before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your night, last week I got a chance to talk with Peyton, your son, out there, and he seems to be just enjoying coaching as much as he did playing. Talk about, and I think last year, I think you had all 3 of your sons on the sidelines with you, but talk about how fun it is to be out there and just to watch your kid. Your son just seems, Peyton just seems like he just really digs doing this coaching thing.
Well, he does. He's going to be, he's a great coach right now, but he's going to be a great head coach. And, he just enjoys. He's very intelligent. He's very good. He's taught Caden a lot. Through his experiences and people he's around. And that's the thing. Caden's very receptive to his coaching, and and it's done wonders for me as well. It's taken a lot off on my plate now. He pretty much game plans the pass offense. I take care of all the run game stuff. So it gives us a chance to be even more multiple, because it's for years it was just me. And now having him do the pass game, I think it's really helped open our offense up a whole bunch.
Yep, that is head coach Doug Ramsey from the Elder Panthers, arguably the most impressive team we've had through 2 weeks in the tri-state area. Coach, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you being gracious with your time, and we love talking ball with you as always. Again, we appreciate you being a friend of the show. Again, congratulations on a big win tonight, being 2-0, and I'm sure we'll catch up again soon, all right?
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Greg,
That's
and I'll
good
tell you
stuff
what,
right there, man.
That's a good team, offensive, defensively. I mean, it's just they 56-20 against a Covcat team, right? Eddie Evanston, and I know, Greg, you love bragging about Coach Evanston, and he's a fantastic coach.
Yep.
Elder dominated that game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, 546 yards of total offense, 357 through the air, and boy, oh boy. I mean, and everybody, we didn't really talk about it, but through 2 weeks, the amount of kids that have touched the ball and had positive things on their offense, I mean, everybody's got a hand in it. That's the cool thing. When you're 2 weeks in and you're putting up 91 total points, and yeah, so Lyman's got 6 touchdown catches in 2 weeks, but there's other guys putting up some numbers.
There's like 5 other guys on the offense that can do almost the exact same thing.
Good stuff,
It's a very, very good Elder team, right, Greg? That's definitely state championship worthy team right there, right?
Yeah,
That's
they got the look of it.
It's going to be a hard team to beat. All right, Greg, before we get out of here, right, just kind of running through some of the big games here tonight, right? GCL South play. Moeller dominated Groveport Madison tonight 42-0. St. Xavier, as everyone heard on these airways, they beat Wayne tonight by a score of 35-7. And LaSalle, they won 38-6. It was a very good night, Greg, for the GCL
South.
Right?
4-0, yeah,
Yep.
and didn't give up a whole lot of points along the way. So, yeah, really nice night after 2 losses in week 1.
Absolutely. And then going into the GMC, number 1 Princeton, they moved to 2-0 on the season with a 28-7 win over Middletown. And then ECC, number 9 Whitten Woods, we talked to head coach Chad Murphy earlier in the show. They won 35-0 in this game. Beechwood was taking on Indian Hill tonight. Beechwood with a 42-0 win. Another game, Greg, quickly, that we didn't talk about tonight. Number 21 Mason was taking on Sycamore. Mason ended up winning this game, but Sycamore put up 24 points of their own. Alex Neagle for Mason had 19 carries, 189 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Big win for Mason tonight.
Yeah, big win. And Zach Branham from Sycamore. We haven't had a guy we talked about in Sycamore in a while. Quarterback Zach Branham, 346 yards and 4 touchdowns through the air. So nice job there by Sycamore, showing some life in a little bit. But, yeah, Nagel, they needed that running back to play well. And let's not forget the big shutout tonight. Number 19 Oak Hills beating number 11 Fairfield at Fairfield, 21-0. The Highlanders with a GMC shutout. Whoa, buddy.
Absolutely. Big win there. And then number 16 Coleraine, they defeated Hamilton by a score of 41-7. Right over there, Northern Kentucky, Ryle beat Connor by a score of 36-21. And Greg, how about Milford with a 47-7 win over Walnut Hills tonight?
We talked with Coach Tom Grippa in the pregame portion of the show, and he was really looking for them to get off the schneid, and he thought they played good last week, but just not good enough to win. So this week they did.
Absolutely. So, again, you guys want to check out the scores, tristatefootball.com/scores for the Underground Sports Shop scoreboard. That's going to do it for us on the tristatefootball.com high school football show. Safwan Ulvi, Greg Shoemaker, thank you so much for Daniel Kuhn and TGIF Football. Thank you to Sam Niger behind the glass, and we will talk to you next week on the High School Football Tonight Show, powered by tristatefootball.com on Fox Sports 1360.
This is Fox Sports 13.
Thanks, guys.
WSAI Cincinnati, the home of...
Take care.